Hello, hello. So we are live. My name is Adrienne Garland, and I am the CEO of She Leads Media. And I'm here with my friend and colleague, Jennifer Dawn. And we're just going to get started in a couple of minutes. We have about 16 people with us right now. I'm just going to give people another minute or so to join. And if you're here, if you could just pop over to the chat and say hello. I see Annette is here and Suzanne.
Hi, Annette.
Hello.
Oh my God. Hi, Delia. Yay.
We got Jersey Shore, Florida. So this is going to be good. We are going to have a great time today. We have about 45 minutes of presentation with about 15 minutes of questions and answers at the end. We hope to make this super interactive and deliver a ton of value today. So we have another couple of people popping in here, which is so exciting. We've got Juliana. Hello, Juliana from New York. We've got Shell or Chalet. We'll call you Chalet because I like it. Lisa from New York City. Alexandra. So hi, everybody. Debbie's here from Virginia. So we have a lot of East Coasters here. Oh, Diana from Lynbrook, which is in Long Island, where I am. I am in Seacliff in Long Island. And it is an absolutely beautiful day out today, which is a ray of sunshine in this pandemic.
The sun still shines.
The sun still shines. So it looks like we have a good amount of people. We've got Pearl and Mary and so why don't we just go ahead and jump in. I'm just going to kick off this webinar by saying hello to everybody again and just letting you know that I am Adrienne Garland. I am the CEO of She Leads Media. I met Jennifer a couple of years ago when she reached out and asked to participate at the She Leads Media conference. And through some circumstances, I don't think that she was able to speak, but she did speak this past year, and she ran the lunchtime workshop, which was incredible and so well received, and everybody was asking for more Jennifer. So that's why we're doing this here today. I am going to just turn it right over to Jennifer so that you can experience her brilliance, and hopefully she'll tell you all about all of her services and all of the offerings that she has. I have her best planner ever right here. It's amazing and so helpful during this time. And I also have her best journal ever.
Oh, yay!
Which is incredible. Yay. So we're going to just kick it right off. If you do have any questions, I'm going to be monitoring the chat. We can always jump in, but let's go ahead and kick this off. Jennifer, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adrienne. And thank you again for having me here. That lunchtime workshop was fantastic. But you guys, I have to tell you, if I've ever had to compete with 150 women in a room all eating and you're trying to present, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. A wonderful space. And thank you so much for having me back. So Adrienne and I were chatting and we were like, okay, what are we hearing the most from our communities, from our clients? And it was, help, I'm stuck and I need to get to the next level and I need to do it quickly. And so that's where we came up with the topic for this webinar today. Now, for some of you, I see some familiar names popping into the chat, which is awesome. Annette and Dahlia and Cindy, you guys all know who I am, but the rest of you who may not, just a really quick little introduction. So my name is Jennifer Dawn. I'm a whole life business coach. I own Jennifer Dawn Coaching. I'm also a coach for the Forbes Council, the Young Entrepreneur Council, and two other companies called Predictable Profits and TM3, and working with business owners really across the board, companies from startups all the way up to $50 and $100 million companies. I am Profit First certified, and I also consider myself School of Hard Knocks certified. I am not a business coach who went to school and learned how to do this stuff. I am in the trenches doing it myself. I've grown 2 7-figure businesses. I'm on track for my third right now. And as Adrienne mentioned, I'm also the founder of The Best Planner Ever. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. We're going to keep going. Now, we developed this webinar for you and with you in mind, because we've so often heard, I work so hard, I'm so dedicated, I want to be so successful on my own terms, but I'm stuck. And I just feel like something is holding me back. And I don't know how to get unstuck. And here's the thing is that when we're in this space, we know that if we could get unstuck, that we could get to that next level that we're striving for. And Adrienne and I, we both know this. We've been in this place of stuckness. We know how much it sucks and how uncomfortable and how frustrating it is. And this is a space that is absolutely no fun whatsoever. And so that's why today we're going to learn some practical hands-on strategies for getting yourself unstuck from any situation. And especially right now with everything going on in the world today, I think it's really important to embrace our thinking, embrace our skill set, find ways of finding creative solutions. All of us are faced with different challenges, especially in our businesses right now. So I want each and every one of you, unless you're driving, if you're not, hopefully you're not driving. If you are, don't do this, but everybody else, grab paper, grab pen. You're going to want to take some notes today, and we're actually going to do some of this work together. This isn't just sit back and listen. That's right. This is, we're going to get to it because I'm going to give you some practical tools, and I want to empower you with real things that you can walk away with today and start using today. All right, so let's do this. Now, here's the problem with being in a state of stuckness, and we're just going to call it stuckness. We all know what I'm talking about when I say this. And when you're in this state, you're generating negative emotions, things like anger or frustration or overwhelm or disappointment. It could be any negative emotion along those lines. When you're in stuckness, you're also thinking negative thoughts, things like, I don't know what to do. I can't do this. Maybe I'm not good enough. I just don't know. Those kinds of things. And then from there, we're also taking ineffective action or maybe no action, right? Because we're having all these negative emotions, we're thinking these negative thoughts, and from there, we're just like, I don't even know how to deal with it. And so we might find ourselves distracting ourselves with food or alcohol or TV or social media and just checking out because we simply just don't know what to do and we don't want to deal with all of the negative stuff that kind of comes from being in a state of stuck. And so what happens is the cycle gets broken. And the cycle that I'm talking about is the cycle that starts with our thoughts and our thinking. And from our thoughts, that the next part of that is feelings, right? So we think a thought, it makes us feel a feeling. And from the feelings is where we take actions. And from our actions, we get results. And we're all familiar with this, but sometimes we don't always realize the process behind it and how everything is connected. And so when that cycle gets broken, you can see that it will affect everything after it. And if you think about when you're taking action in your life or in your business and you feel good, you feel empowered, like you're out there, you're getting busy, everything is good, you're taking action, you're getting great results, versus being in that state of stuckness that now we're generating negative emotions, we're not feeling so great, maybe we're completely checking out, maybe we're taking some actions more out of fear or desperation, not really things that are going to move us forward. And you can see how when that cycle is broken, it really starts to impact your results. And so when you're stuck, one of the ways I want you to think about this is that you just have a broken cycle. Most of us, it looks like, are women. We all get the idea of having a cycle and it's broken, okay? And so we can totally grasp that idea that, oh wait, if the cycle is just broken and I can figure out where it's broken, then all I have to do is fix it. And when I know how to fix it, then I can handle any situation, even global pandemics. I can handle any situation that comes up, and I can actually now start to do it with confidence. Okay, so the real problem here is that when we're stuck, we've temporarily given up our power. Okay, we've shut ourselves off from the answers that we're seeking, and we've made this choice, and it might even be subconscious. I know before I understood a lot about this, I didn't even know that I was doing this, but what happens is we make the choice to kind of fall back into a victim mindset where we're powerless. These things are happening to us. We don't have any control over it. And it's just not true. And when I say this stuff, you guys, if it's pushing any buttons, I want you to know I'm not saying this with any judgment whatsoever. It's all coming from love. And when we think about a victim mindset, really all that means is that we've just given away our power. We've put it on something else, and that's why we're feeling powerless. That's why we're feeling kind of separated from ourselves. And then when we do this, our minds, being the beautiful, brilliant minds that they are, our mind then starts to create justifications for why it's okay that we've given up our power, that we've reverted into this victim mindset. And so we start telling stories, and these stories can then come to us in the form of excuses or distractions or limiting beliefs. Okay. And I'm sure all of you have experienced this. Adrienne, she's the only one I can see, right? Nodding her head. I know I have definitely experienced this. I've given my power away. I've put myself in a victim mindset. I don't even realize that I've done it. And now I just start making excuses to justify why I'm right, why that was okay. But I've still lost my power, and I'm still kind of feeling negative emotion from that. Okay, but here's the deal, but that's not okay. And it's not a state that we want to stay in. And so that's why today I'm going to share with you 4 powerful strategies and tools to help you take back your power, step out of that victim mindset, and learn how to get yourself unstuck for good. Okay? All right, so here we go. So to get the most from today, I want you to show up with an open mind. And even no matter what you're faced with. So as I mentioned, I'm a business coach, you guys, and I'm just working with businesses all over the country right now. And I'm seeing how this is affecting everybody in all kinds of different ways that I never would have even been like, oh yeah, like I didn't think about it would affect somebody in that way. But there are solutions here. You will only find them if you are willing to show up with an open mind. So I want to encourage you to do that today. Show up with an open mind. Be willing to do this work. So I'm going to share some tools with you, but you've got to actually use the tools. That's why I said, grab your pens, and you've got to be willing to do this work and do it after we're done. We have a very limited amount of time today. So these are all things you can take with you and you can do after the webinar. And I want you to commit to keep taking massive action until you get the desired result. Now, some of you might be going, okay, what the heck is she talking about when she says massive action? I'm not talking about like burning yourself out, working crazy hours. That is not what I'm talking about here. When I talk about massive action, I'm talking about making the choice that you're going to try. And once you try, you're actually willing to fail. And let's talk about fail for just a second. Fail does not mean you're a failure, you're a loser, you suck, right? All that junk that we put on that is not what we're talking about here. The definition of failure just simply means you took an action and you didn't get the desired result. That's all failure is. You tried and you didn't get that end result. And many of us as business owners know often it takes several attempts until we get a different or get the desired result. And so when we talk about massive action, it's really about making the choice that I'm going to try. I'm willing to not get the desired result the first time out of the gate, and I'm willing to try again, and I'm going to keep trying until I get the desired result. Okay, and that's really the definition of failing forward. It doesn't mean you're a big fat loser. It means that you're willing to keep trying until you get that desired result. So just be really clear about that, okay? Passive action, the difference between massive and passive action is what we're doing right now. We're consuming information, we're learning, we're growing, and that is a super highly valuable thing. I love it. I'm always learning and growing and improving my skill set. But massive action is when we switch from consuming to creating. That's the doing. Okay, so we want to take what we've learned today and we want to turn it into massive action. and keep going, right? Until we get those desired results. If we stop, we won't get the desired result. And what is that result? To get ourselves unstuck and moving forward. And when we start ourselves moving forward, we're going to put ourselves back in a place of positive thoughts and happiness. And that's the place where we are actually then able to achieve more. Because happiness comes first, and happiness is really where success comes from. This isn't something that I knew earlier on. I wish that I teach my children this now, and I wish that somebody would go back to 20-year-old Jennifer and be like, hey, dumbass, so this is actually the order that it goes in. Because I had this backwards for many years. I thought, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to achieve these things and then I'll be happy. And that's a huge mistake. And we're going to actually talk about that a little bit more today. And there are numerous studies which have been done which show that people who are happy actually achieve more success. They live longer. They're more likely to be promoted if they have jobs. And they did a really big Harvard study about this. And in the study, they actually showed that the happiness is what led to the success. It was not the other way around. And so if we know that happiness leads to our success and we're feeling stuck and that's generating a lot of unhappiness, that's going to manifest as less success for us each day. So this is one of the biggest mistakes in our thinking, and why I wanted to bring it into the presentation today is this idea of I'll be happy when I achieve something or when this happens. And this is also a form of stuck. And I know that I was in this form of stuck for years, and I never even realized it because I was stuck in this negative cycle of backwards thinking. Well, when this happens, then I'll be happy. When this happens, then I'll be happy. And I was always kind of feeling like I couldn't get to that next level. Well, based on what we know now about happiness is what needs to come first, we can understand this is actually backwards thinking. So of course, it's going to totally stall us out because it's backwards thinking. So this is our unstuck strategy number 1. Don't postpone your happiness for if or when something is going to happen. And that includes global pandemics. And I know for some of you, you might be just like, oh, there's just no way I could find any happiness right now in the moment. And I'm going to say, if you come with an open mind and you try, you absolutely can find some things right now in this moment to be happy about. Because when you're attaching your happiness to some future outcome, this is a way that we're giving our power away. We're putting it on this future outcome, and now we have to wait for it to happen in order to be happy. And that's going to break that positive cycle of feeling good, having more success, taking that action, and all of that. When you're stuck in this cycle of I'm going to wait until something happens before I can be happy, it's actually going to kind of make you, and maybe you've experienced this, like more needy and more desperate, like, oh, it has to happen soon because I'm attaching my happiness to it and it's not fun being unhappy. And so you start working at a rushed pace, or you're more stressed and you're kind of in a panic because you're just like, oh my God, I just have to get there. I have to get there. And it kind of keeps you stuck in this place of sort of like feeling like crap all the time. I did this for many years and it's really no fun at all, of this cycle. And maybe you felt that, this just like desperation. I have to work harder. I have to go, because all my happiness is attached to this outcome. Even if you don't realize that's what's happening, often that's what's happening. So instead, what we want to do is when we're setting a goal for ourselves, we can just ask the question, do I believe that happiness is on the other side of this? And if so, then you can start to reevaluate, but you can also use some tools to bring yourself into the present moment so that you can start allowing yourself to actually feel the feeling of being happy now. So happiness, you guys, it's just a feeling. And if we choose to do so, we can create things in our lives and manufacture the feeling of happiness. Sometimes I think of it like baking a cake, right? If you follow the recipe and you follow the instructions, you get cake. So if you know the things that make you happy and you do more of them each day, you're going to get happier. It's like baking a happy cake every single day, but with intention of being in that feeling and that emotion more often than you are now. Because of course, if we remember, it's happiness which drives the success. So it's important enough to start putting it first. Now, if some of you have never done this, you might be asking, okay, Jennifer, that sounds great, but how in the hell do I actually do that? You might logically understand it, but sometimes it's hard to feel it in our hearts and our souls and really put it into practice. So I want to share a great exercise. So this is where your pens and your paper come into handy. So this is a great exercise that you can do at any time to begin the practice. And guys, it's a practice. You have to do this over and over to get really good at it, to begin the practice of being happy right now, present moment, despite anything else that might be happening in your life. And yes, that means you may not have the money in your bank account. You might have a few extra pounds hanging around your waist. You might have a child who's driving you insane. Like whatever that happens to be, you can still practice gratitude in any form that you want. It's a quick way to just like boost your happiness instantly. But here's a different take on gratitude. And it's one of my favorite things to do when I need to get present and really bring happiness right now into this moment. So make a list of 20 things that you want. And if any of you have practiced gratitude, you're probably familiar with this idea of like, okay, I want this. I want a new car. I want a new house. I want more money in my bank account. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But in this list, you're going to make a list of 20 things that you want that you already have. And you're going to practice loving what you already have. And this is an instant happiness booster. For example, I really, really, really want to be married to a fantastic, kind, generous, loving man. I really want to have 3 awesome kids and watch them grow up and be a great parent to them. I want to own my own business, set my own schedule, get to choose who I work with. I want to have a body that's physically capable of running or jumping or riding a horse. And oh, guess what? I already have all of that. And it's that process of falling in love with everything in our lives that we already have. I do have those things. And I put a Yahoo, right? It's a good thing. And so it's just a different way of practicing gratitude where you don't have to change anything in your life right now, but you can really get happy right now for all the things you want that you already have. Okay, so write that one down. We don't have time to wait for you to do this exercise, but I want you to take it with you when you're done and make that list and put in your planner, put it somewhere you're going to see it. And anytime you're not feeling happy in that present moment, you can whip that list out. You can add some things to it. All right, so let's get back on understanding our thinking. So feeling stuck, as we've covered, is a result of a broken cycle. The thinking, the feeling, the actions, the results cycle. So if the feeling is we're stuck, it's going to generate negative emotions. And so what we can do is we can start to put our thinking under inquiry, just inquiry, so that we can fix this broken cycle, because the thinking is where it really all starts. Okay, so if you're thinking, I'm stuck. And that's the thought. That's our purpose today. I know Adrienne and I have both had this thought before, like, I'm stuck. And so from there, it generates a feeling of sadness, anger, frustration, overwhelm, right? Whatever it might be feeling, that's going to keep you stuck. And from that place, it's really, really easy to be tempted to just bury those feelings, bury those thoughts, ignore them, distract yourself because of these unpleasant emotions that are coming up. We don't want to deal with them. The problem, however, is that when we repress these emotions, they just get bigger, they get heavier, they drain our energy, and it's not a good place to be. And instead, what we want to do is we want to let these emotions out. We want to let them loose. Okay. I swear that sometimes within the human race, we would rather die than feel a negative emotion. It's like, we'll do anything to avoid it. But I promise you that nobody ever actually died from feeling a negative emotion. And it can be really fun to actually just like when you're feeling a negative emotion, just be like, what's actually happening? You know, maybe my heart's beating, maybe my stomach feels a little upset. That's really all that's happening. And so sometimes if you can really like feel it and go, wait a second, I'm not dying, the sun's still coming up, it's really okay. It can kind of free ourselves from this idea that, you know, we don't want to feel these negative emotions. And so we want to set these things free. We want to acknowledge these negative emotions so that we can set yourself and we can set the emotions free. When we're avoiding them, when we're burying them, it takes a lot of our energy. But when you set these free, it clears your energy so that you can focus on the solution to any problem that might be presenting in your life. Now, again, we're going to grab our pens. I want to share another tool for doing this. And this is one of the best tools I've ever found, and it involves some journaling. Now, for those of you who love to journal, you're probably going, yay. For those of you who are not journalers, you're going, oh God, she's going to give me a journaling exercise. But I promise this is not like a normal journaling exercise. I was not a big journaler, but then I learned how to do this, and it was so liberating. This was actually the inspiration for me creating the best journal ever. All right, so here is the exercise, and here's what you do. You're going to set aside some quiet space without any distractions whatsoever. You're going to grab blank paper and pen or pencil, whatever you like to write with, or like Adrienne, if you have a best journal ever, I have mine here on my desk. I use it all the time, right? So if you have a journal, best journal ever, great, grab that too. But if you don't, it's no big deal. Just grab some blank paper. You're going to set a timer for 20 minutes. And you're just going to let it rip. And when I say let it rip, I really mean don't hold back. You get to vent, you get to rant and rave and scream and yell and cry. You get to do whatever you want to do here. You want to write down all those things that you're not supposed to say and you're not supposed to think. And a lot of these things, it's not that you shouldn't think them, but a lot of them you probably shouldn't say because they're probably not very good, and that's okay. But you get to go there with this exercise, and I don't want you to hold back. I don't care how ugly or nasty or whatever it is. You want to just go for the full 20 minutes and you want to just journal it out. If you need to go longer, but you definitely want to go there. And here's the thing that I want to be really clear. This is not about forcing yourself to be in a bad place. So if you're not in a bad place, you don't have to do this exercise. But if you're stuck and you're feeling a lot of negative emotion, if you have anything that's tripping you up, this is a perfect exercise because it's about releasing any negative emotion that you might have buried. And it could come, guys, it could come from way back in your past. It can come from relationships. If you think about your life and you think of any friction point, you can journal about that. Okay, when you're done, here's the beautiful part of it. You destroy the pages. You rip them up and you throw them away. And this is why I love this exercise, because it's not a journal that anyone is ever going to read. It's a safe space for you. And I think there's something about knowing it's a safe space, knowing I get to rip this up, knowing nobody's ever going to find it, knowing I don't have to like go to therapy to explain what I wrote, like none of that. And it gives you that permission to really just let it go. All you get to do here is experience any of your emotions, acknowledge them, they are there, but you're also releasing them. And there's just something very healing about ripping up those papers and throwing them away that feels so, so good. Okay, so once you're going to find that once you clear out that top layer of negative emotion, it's going to start opening you back up, and you're going to start to feel love, and you might feel compassion, you might feel gratitude, you might feel understanding, and it's all absolutely there, all those feelings. The problem is they're just kind of underneath all those negative emotions. Now, if you've never done anything like this, it might take a few sessions before you start feeling better. When I first learned about this, I swear I probably journaled for like 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 times a day, because I just had so much in there. And it felt so good to have a space that I could just get it out. And once I started doing this, then I noticed that as I started journaling, it was like, oh, I would feel gratitude. I would feel compassion. And when I learned how to do this, they said it would happen. And I was like, it's not happening for me. I'm still really pissed off about everything. But I kept going. Remember, massive action. I just stuck with it and I kept going. And as soon as it all started to break loose, I felt it. And it will do that for you too. You'll know when you get there because you will feel things open and you will feel all these positive emotions start to shift and come out. And when that happens, let it happen. You'll know it when you get there, and don't feel like you have to stay in that negative place once that shift actually happens and occurs. And again, this only works if you do it. It's one of the most powerful tools that I've ever discovered. As I mentioned, it's what inspired me to create the best journal ever. There are pages in the best journal ever. It's called Let Go of the Crap Journaling. And at the bottom, there's a note that says, tear these pages out when you're done. They're literally designed to be ripped out and destroyed. This is my most powerful tool that I use whenever I feel stuck. When I feel any kind of negative emotion, I know that I can go in, I can do this, and it's like scraping a layer of gunk off a window so that I can clear my thinking and open it up and really start to see things. I'm sure you've experienced negative emotion can really skew our perspective, and then our brains kick in and start putting a bunch of stories on stuff to make ourselves right, and it just starts to be a big mess. So this is a great tool that you can use, and that's why it is unstuck strategy number 2. Understand that it's our thinking which is causing those feelings, but repressing those feelings only makes it worse. So instead, use this powerful journaling exercise to release those emotions so that you can start thinking clearly. Okay, so now we're in a space, and I know you can't do this exercise right now, but again, it's another one you can take and you can do it anytime after the webinar today. Now, for some of you, you're going to do this exercise. It's going to clear your thoughts, and you're going to just be like, that's all I needed. I feel so much better. Boom, I'm back on track. For some of you, however, you're going to do the exercise. You're going to totally start feeling better, whether it's after 1 session or 3 sessions or 5 sessions, whatever. But if you keep with it, you will start feeling better. But you might still be asking, okay, I feel a lot better emotionally, but I still don't know what to do next. And so if that's you, that's where we're going to go right now, when you're just like, yeah, but I still don't know what to do. Okay. So when that occurs, we want to unlock the door to our own internal answers. Because when we use the words, I don't know how, I don't know, we are basically closing that door on any answers that want to come through. And in order to get the answers that we're after, we have to open this door wide. And one of the simplest, easiest ways I've found to do this is to simply replace the words, I don't know, with I'm figuring it out. Now, just for a second, I want you to think about how this feels in your body and in your heart. So take a moment and think about the words, I don't know. And when I think I don't know, I feel closed, I feel kind of blocked off, I feel a little frustrated, and I feel a little bit victim-y because I'm just like, oh, I don't know, which means I don't have my power. I can't figure this out. So if we switch that to I'm figuring it out, for me, it's just kind of like, I'm figuring it out. Everything opens. Those channels get clear. Well, of course, I'm figuring it out. Think of all the things in life we've figured out, and it opens those doors so that we can then find the answers that we need. Once that door is open, and this is our unstuck strategy number 3, is commit to figuring it out. Because now once we've changed those words and we've opened that door so our answers can come through, from that place, now we can start tapping into our own internal wisdom. And I'm going to give you an exercise. I told you guys I was giving you lots of tools on how to actually do that, how to tap into our own internal wisdom. This is harder to do if you're really pissed off or sad or angry, your emotions are at a super high level, you're like, I don't know what to do, right? It's difficult, if not impossible, to tap into our own internal wisdom, which is why we want to get ourselves into a place of present and happy, get those emotions released off so we can clear our thinking. Now start changing our words to I'm figuring it out. And from that space, now we can tap into the answers that are actually already inside of us. And so I want to give you a quick visualization exercise on how to do this. So again, take a few minutes in a place where you won't be distracted. And you just go to a place in the future. It can be however far you need to go. And in the future, the problem has already been solved. So whatever you're faced with, it could be this crisis with your business right now. It could be a relationship problem. It could be a health issue. It could be anything. You go to a place in the future where that problem is already solved. And you ask yourself, okay, what did I do to get here? Now, the key here is you got to go to the place where it's actually solved. So you want to feel it, you want to see it, you want to be in that space where it's solved, okay? What did I do to get here? And you're going to get answers. They're going to start flowing. And as they start flowing, I want you to write them down. And from those answers that come to you, that's actually becomes your list that you can now use to start making a daily action plan and then start working the list. Okay, this is one of my favorite tools, and you can use it at any time of just like, okay, it's done. What did I do? Oh, well, I probably got rid of all this negative emotion. I probably did something to be happier in the moment. I probably, improved my processes. I probably identified what point in my marketing, what piece of my marketing really isn't working. And I focused on what was broken instead of beating myself up the whole time. Whatever comes to you, those are the things that you now know. That's the information you needed. So you can now start using that to solve the problem and get to that future outcome. Okay, so quick little recap on this one. Open the door to your answers by replacing I don't know with I'm figuring it out. This allows you to tap into your own internal wisdom, where you just simply look into the future and then reverse engineer how you got there, and then get going now on taking massive action, which doesn't mean that everything's going to work out perfectly the first time, the first thing you try, but being willing to try. I didn't get my result. Let me try again. That's our massive action. Okay, now as you do this, you're heading out into uncharted territory. And depending on where you're at, what your thinking has been, for some of you, this might feel really, really new, okay? Because the power of knowing how to get yourself unstuck, the power of knowing how to process your emotions with confidence, the power of knowing you can tap into your own internal wisdom at any time. For some of you, it might feel like, holy shit, what is happening here, right? Because all those excuses and all that BS kind of just start to disappear. And it's like, wait a second, all my excuses are gone. I had a coaching call with a client last week, and we were going through this process. And at the end, she was just like, holy crap, Jennifer. She's like, all my excuses are gone. Yes. Okay. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. However, if you've not experienced this, it can be really uncomfortable because we're used to the excuses. We're used to the BS. We're used to having to deal with all of this crap. But these are new ways of thinking. And so the process is really about stepping into a new you, stepping out of those old ways of thinking, and instead stepping into something new, something different, something better. It's going to feel uncomfortable, and I want you to be okay with that and just get used to it, because uncomfortable does not mean that you're stuck. What it really means is that it's new and it's different, and it means new possibilities. It means new choices. And for many of this, it can mean a totally new life. Now, as you're moving through this process, I want to encourage you to get help. I didn't just magically wake up one day and know all of this stuff. I have lots of teachers and mentors and coaches and people that I've worked with to learn how to do all of these things and how to master these concepts. And so you really want to work with people who know how to do this. And it will shorten your curve by being around other people that even if they don't know how to do it, they're motivated to do it, and they're going to motivate you too. So I would encourage you, if you're not already working with somebody, or maybe you're working with somebody you don't like the results that you're getting, but to find a coach or a mentor or a teacher who can help give you a different perspective. Hopefully, as you've been going through this class today, you're getting a lot of new perspectives and new ways of thinking about this stuff, because really our same old thinking, our same old feeling, our same old actions are just going to give us our same old results. And those same old results, we're here to talk about what? Being stuck. This is what's going to keep you stuck. So you have to be willing to do some new things, to be a little uncomfortable, to start to step out into that unknown. I want you to think about this for a second. So if you're doing the same old stuff and that's your past, and here in your present, you're doing the same old stuff, you can kind of predict your future. It's going to be the same old stuff. So when we start to do something new and we start to think different, we're actually kind of heading out into that unknown. And for some of us, it's like, oh my God, I have to know exactly what's going to happen when I take these new steps. Well, you're not going to know, because you're heading into the unknown. If you want to know, keep doing the same crap every day, and then you'll know you're going to get the same result. But when you start doing something new, this is what I mean by kind of embracing the unknown, embracing that uncomfortable, because it isn't known. You are now in the realm of all new possibilities, but I promise you that's actually a very, very good place to be. Now, for some of you, you might be going like, where in the world do I go to find some help? And as Adrienne mentioned, I'm going to tell you about one of my coaching programs. So if you're not sure on where to go, I do have a coaching program called Inner Circle Coaching. It is not for everyone, but it is for those who truly want to go deeper into all of this stuff. And if you do, here is how I can help with Inner Circle. And I'll just give you a quick rundown. So Inner Circle is a group coaching program. We have up to 6 group calls a month. You can attend as many of those as you like. And we're doing 2 training calls each month because we're learning together. So kind of like what we're doing today, we take that a little bit deeper, but we're learning together with 2 training calls per month. So you can expand your skill set, you can feed your mind, but we do it in a way that's really fun and it's never overwhelming. We also have 2 open coaching calls each month. And this is where you can come together with other entrepreneurs. You don't have to figure all this stuff out alone. You don't always have to learn by trial and error. That's certainly how I grew my first 2 companies, was just through a lot of trial and error. And instead, what you can do is you can shorten your curve with a coach who's been there, who's done it, and with other entrepreneurs who have also been there and done it. And finally, we have 2 other calls each month, one around accountability and one around our money, because we are going to support you in all the ways that are important. So that's the Inner Circle program. Of course, the big question, what's my investment? It's $397 a month. I do not require a long-term contract. I want my clients to come in. I want them to get value. As long as they get great value, I know they're going to stay. And that's what most of them do. But no long-term contracts, it's month to month. And when you sign up, you also get a private 30-minute strategy session with me. There's some assessments that come to you that you fill out. Then we have a private strategy session so that we can figure out exactly where you are and make a plan for moving you forward. I decided to add as a special bonus just for today, for all the beauties who are on this call, if you decide that you want to take action today, I'm also going to gift you a second private 30-minute strategy session with me, which is a $375 value. So you'll get 2 strategy sessions. Okay, you might be asking, okay, but really what's the value? Well, we're going to work on your mindset. We're going to work on your thinking, a lot of kind of like what we're doing today, obviously on a much deeper level. But all my business owners, we're all in there and we're working on everything from our sales, okay, our sales processes, our marketing. Think about all the things that go along with your marketing, your systems, your automation, your profitability, your bottom line, your finances. We're working on how to build amazing teams. We're working on how to scale your business, which doesn't mean you work yourself into the ground. Okay, we're actually working on scaling the business so you work less and the business starts to operate almost independently of you. So if you've never done a coaching program and you're just like, I'm not sure what in the world would I even use that for, clients use it for everything across the board, everything from feedback on their website, how to write copy, what to do with their social media, how to streamline, how to get more money on the bottom line, all of those different things. Okay, So at this point, you really have a choice. Now, if your business is totally dialed in, everything is running like clockwork, you don't need my help. Awesome. I'm so happy for you that you have a business that's running like that. If not, you have a choice. You can reach out. You can have a conversation with me, a no obligation conversation. I do not do hard pressure sales. Truly, if you don't want to be in the group, I don't want you in the group. It's a win-win for both of us. And if you don't want to have that conversation, not a problem. We can totally part friends. Regardless, my goal today was to provide you with a ton of value that you could take and you could put into practice today. Oh, and Annette just left an amazing comment in the chat. I love Annette so dearly. And she is one of my favorite people on the planet. And it was such a gift. I didn't expect her to be here today. So I love that she's here today. And thank you, Annette, for those lovely comments. Okay, so again, my goal was to provide you with a ton of value. If you do want to set up a conversation, just go to my website. I'm going to display this link again. My website is jenniferdoncoaching.com. And you can just go to /schedule-call, or just go to my website. In the top right-hand corner, it says schedule call. Just click the button, schedule a call. It's going to put you right on my schedule, and we can have a nice little chat and figure out if we are a fit to work together. And I'll display this link one more quick time. But first, we're really close on time, so I just want to do a quick little recap. So strategy number 1, don't attach your happiness to some future outcome. Instead, take back your power right now. Practice wanting what you already have with that gratitude exercise that I taught you, and get yourself unstuck from that if-then cycle. Strategy number 2 was to start understanding our thinking, understanding what the cycle is with our thinking, and that when our thinking is broken, why it's causing us to feel all these emotions. And instead of repressing those emotions, we're going to use that journaling exercise to clear them out so we can clear our thinking and get our thinking unstuck. Once that thinking is unstuck, we can then unlock and open that door to our answers and start tapping into our own internal wisdom with that visualization exercise. So instead of I don't know, it's I'm figuring it out. You do have these answers inside of you. Your brain is like a supercomputer. Any thought you're thinking, if you don't want it to be true, I highly recommend you get rid of it. Because as soon as you start thinking it, your brain goes to work on making it true. So when you tell yourself, I'm figuring it out, I do have the answers, I know how to tap into them, that will actually become your reality. And finally, get help, get support along the way, because this can be really uncomfortable as you start to step into that unknown and change your thinking. This is often not I did it once and everything was perfect after that, unicorns, butterflies, and rainbows. It's I did it once and now I'm stuck again. Oh, I did it again and now I'm stuck again. Okay, it's a practice, and you want to get help and support as you go through this practice until you are able to master these concepts. Okay, so that's the link. If you'd like to schedule a call with me, Jennifer Don Coaching, just click schedule a call. And we still have a few minutes. So, I always try to make sure we have a few minutes. So anybody who has a question, I want you to pop it into the chat. And I think I did see a comment from Dahlia. You'd put a comment on having to close 2 stores and lay off a lot of your staff. She made a comment how about sometimes it starts to feel like you're not the driver anymore. And that's so true. And I'm hoping that the information from this webinar will actually help you go, wait a second. I am the driver. In fact, I'm the driver who made the choice to close 2 stores, which was the right decision. Because as a business owner, it's your job to make sure your staff have a job to come back to. And Dahlia, I know that you're also in New York, and I was talking with a client in New York. I'm going to share this with you guys no matter what state you might be in. So I have a client who talked with the state, the Department of Labor, and they have a work share program right now where they will split the hours between unemployment and working. So let's say you can only cover your staff 2 days a week, unemployment will kick in for those other 3 days. It's something that they've just started now because of the crisis. And so I would highly recommend whatever state you're in, there might be some sort of a work share program going on with your unemployment or Department of Labor office find out about that, because it gives your people some unemployment they can rely on if you can't keep them, you know, employed for all the hours that you did before. So I just want to throw that out there. And then Alexandra has a question about, do I also coach on transitions? The stuck is on not being able to land. Yes, absolutely. So here's the thing about a transition is that we're transitioning, and it's that unknown, and we want to know, well, if I do this, then this will happen and everything will be fine. But when we're in the unknown, we don't know. And that's where it gets so scary and uncomfortable. And that's where transitions kind of get a bad rap. But a transition is not a bad thing, but whatever kind of transition you're going through, it's going to be a whole lot easier if you go through it with somebody who's been through it and they understand the process. There's something about, I think I have a very mechanical brain. And if I understand how things work, I don't necessarily have to know the result, but at least I know if this is how it works. I'm supposed to be uncomfortable right now, and that's okay. So let me just vent off my emotions and let me replace worry with trust, and, you know, let me get some help, and, you know, let me consume some information. Now let me take some action. And just kind of knowing how things work can really help in a transition, especially if you're really feeling stuck in one right now. Okay, you guys. And Adrienne, do you have any questions?
I feel like I have a million questions. I mean, this really, you gave such great information. I especially love the writing down of all of the things that, you know, you just might not say to anybody, and then being able to rip that up and throw it away and get rid of it. When I started going through the best journal ever and I saw that prompt, I was like, what is this? So I'm so happy that you explained that more today. I also, I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but I have a teenage son, and sometimes I ask him things, and his immediate responses, I don't know. It's almost like he doesn't. It's just his first response, and I really like the I'm figuring it out, and I just wonder, is there a way to sort of help maybe other members of your family when you're trying to guide them? Do you have any advice for that?
Oh gosh, I have a 17-year-old son who gives me the I don't know. I mean, like, are you hungry? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, really? And so the first thing that I come back with is, well, if you did know, what would it be? What would your answer be? If you did know, well, what would the answer be? And then he goes, yeah, I'm not hungry. Right? Yeah. Because I don't know just sort of shuts everything down. It's like, I don't have to answer you. I don't have to think about it. And so we want to have that person, we want to put the responsibility back on them for providing an answer and doing their own thinking. We shouldn't have to do their thinking for them. And so we get the I don't know, it's just come right back with, well, if you did know, what would the answer be? If you did know, what step would you take? If you did know, what would it be? And now it's back on them. And here's the thing. You can ask a question and they can say, I don't know. But if you ask a question, well, if you did know, what would the answer be? They can't cop out of that. Right. It's like, oh, okay, now you're requiring them to think.
Thank you for that, because what I usually come back to my son with is, yes, you know. And then it gets into the argument of, no, I don't know. Yeah.
Because it puts him on the defensive to defend his I don't know. Yes. But if you already acknowledge, well, if you did know, what would it be? Now he can't go on the defensive for that. And now it makes him think.
Teenagers are saving my life.
I know, right? Teenagers are tricky. They really teach us a lot.
Yes.
And so this is where it's like, as soon as you put him on the defensive, you do know, Now he's on the defensive and you're sunk.
Yeah. And it's funny in the chat, Monica also said, I thought about my teenage daughter as well. So yeah, I think, we go into this sometimes thinking about business and ourselves, but this can really even help members of our family. So.
Oh, absolutely. And the same thing works for clients, vendors, employees. If they're copping out with, I don't know, just make them tap into themselves and do their own thinking. And it's a really easy way to do it. And you don't have to put them on the defense because then that starts unplugging all those negative emotions.
Yeah. Now, I think we can attempt this. I think in the webinar, if somebody wants to actually come in and speak, I think that they can raise their hand. I'm not entirely sure how to do it. But in the sidebar, there's a little hand raise. So if you do want to pop in and ask a question, we can try it. If not, you can continue to sort of put the questions in the chat. We do have.
This is Adrienne and I in the unknown because neither of us have used Webinar Jam before. So we're out there going, hey, we think this is going to work.
Oh yeah. I see a lot of comments about thank you for all the great information. And, I agree with that sentiment as well. Thank you so much for all of this great information because it is super practical and it does help get you past a point. And especially now with everything that's going on, I mean, if you were feeling stuck beforehand, I think everybody is sort of feeling stuck in one way or another now. So hopefully these, all of these tools that you gave us, we can use. Yeah,
absolutely. Please just use them in whatever way works for you. That's where you're going to get the full benefit is to actually put them into practice.
Great. And then, I'm sure on your website too, you can tell people where to get the best journal ever and the best planner ever. So I don't know if you want to just mention something about that.
Yeah, just a couple minutes. Go to the website, bestplannerever.com. And there's a sale going on right now. It's on the announcement. It's on the top of the website. I can't remember the code, but there is a code right now. There's a sale going on. I should change it to something like, I don't know, something to do pandemic love or something.
Well, I do I know it's hard to see. It's a beautiful journal, but what I love about it is look how much you can write. It's so thick and it's just such a perfect size and everything. So I do love it. And I just appreciate having the ability to put all my thoughts there with all of that guidance and the support and everything. So I think everybody here is just saying, thank you so much. Yes. We have 2 minutes. I would like to just say a little bit of something about She Leads Media. My company is very focused on doing in-person events and giving people the opportunity to connect in person. So this new world is something that I am rethinking and recasting. And I think I'm going to look into the future and think about what my business is. I am in the midst of really building up the She Leads podcast network because I do think that podcasts are an incredible platform for women to get their thoughts, voices, and opinions out into the world. I know that Jennifer has her own podcast, so listen into that too. Yes. And I also have, and I believe you can get to your podcast right off of your website.
Yeah, from my websites, you can click podcast. I'm on iTunes and Stitcher and Deezer and a whole bunch of them. Just search for Jennifer Dawn and it'll come up. It's Happy Productive.
Amazing. And I also have a couple of different podcasts out there. My latest one is called Sugar Coated, and it's about real talk with, real people talking about real things that matter. So check that out, Sugar Coated. And it's on all the platforms as well. And if you are interested in maybe starting up your own podcast or just want to learn more about that, you can certainly reach out to me. You can send me an email right now. My website is under construction. But my email, if you have any questions about this, if you want to get in touch with Jennifer, for some reason, if you can't, navigate to our website, which it's easy enough, you can just send me an email at Adrienne@sheleadsmedia.com. And my name is spelled Adrienne at sheleadsmedia.com. So Jennifer, this was beautiful and wonderful, and I just really appreciate it. Thank you so much for delivering incredible value to everybody. And I will get this out. I think this comes out automatically as a recording to everybody, so you can rewatch it. But thank you so much, and just stay healthy, everybody, and wash your hands.
Yes, lots and lots. You're so welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.